Yo, my boy, welcome to another episode. As always, two fans, two opinions, one game.
Welcome to Different Ends. I'm Ash.
And I'm Rob.
Every week we'll be breaking down the biggest stories in football, sharing our views, and probably disagreeing more often than not.
In today's episode, we'll be discussing the World Cup game so far, the teams making the headlines, and the stories everyone's been talking about.
All right, let's get started.
Yes, mate. Yeah, so World Cup's underway. If we're four or 5 days in, how you finding it so far?
Yeah, definitely underway. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy coming up to the World Cup, right, with the political situation and everything else. But I definitely feel like it's been a good start. Some good games, a lot of goals, a couple of upsets as well. Enjoying it.
Yeah, a lot of goals. Actually, before we get into the political situation, mate, have you heard that funny story about Fox, like from Fox Sports and what they've done and the backlash they're facing?
Yeah, I heard this.
Yeah, yeah. So for those who don't know, Fox Sports, they're the home of the World Cup in the States. So just like here in the UK, for example, we got BBC and ITV. They're the main channels for the World Cup here in the UK. So Fox is the main channel for the World Cup in the USA. And the fans and audience have been furious, right? So first of all, on Thursday was the opening ceremony for Mexico. Fox didn't show that one bit. Instead, they kept it on their pundits in an empty SoFi stadium in LA, right? That's the first thing. I think first of all that's disrespectful not to show another nation's opening ceremony, and then the second thing. So during the games you got a mandatory water break in both halves. It's for 3 minutes long, right? So normally, especially here in the UK, when there's a water break, it will go back to the pundits and they'll talk about like some tactical analysis or talk about the game so far. But the conversation's about football. But what Fox Sports have been doing, they go straight to like a commercial break, straight to an ad break for the entire duration of the water break. So if the water break's for 3 minutes, right? And their commercial sometimes runs over like 3 minutes 30 or 4 minutes. That means by the time the game or by the time their ad finishes and the game resumes, the game's already began and the fans of the audience have missed part of the game. So that's outrageous in my opinion anyway. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah. I've heard about this. It's caused a bit of a stir because so I think FIFA had mandated some of the broadcasters around the world that are going to be showing advertisements like Fox Sports, right, during these water breaks, that they have to cut the adverts 30 seconds before the end of the water break. And so obviously they've gone over, and there was some talk about whether Fox Sports were going to get penalised, fined. But the excuse that Fox Sports have given seems to have got them off any penalties or any fines. But I did hear that after those 2 times that it happened, or 3 times, that it's stopped now, right? So they must have fixed it. I'm not sure how it's fixed, but you also mentioned ITV, right? Yeah, which is quite interesting because ITV, unlike the BBC, do have commercial breaks, right, like during half time, but they decided not to use those 3 minutes for commercial breaks. So I think, so kudos to them.
But it's funny, right? Because the Spain game is going on as we speak, right? I've got it on in the background. And it's on a water break, literally this second, and it's on ITV. Do you know Emma Hayes, the
Yes.
ex Chelsea? Yeah. So it's on a water break right now. In the top left hand corner, it's got Spain. So it's actually still showing the players on the pitch and what's happening. They're in a huddle, and the manager's talking to them. And then in the other half of the screen, you got Emma Hayes. We're breaking down Spain's like tactics so far, in game so far, like where the attack's going on. So far the attack's been going on the right hand side. That's what we want to see, right? We don't want to go to like an ad about, I don't know, Nike or Lucozade or Gatorade or whatever they show in the States, but we want to still watch and be a part of the game, right? So do you think should commercials be banned during games?
For me, I'm not a fan of them at all. And it's just another example of kind of the Americanization creeping into football, right? Our sport.
100%,
Like, for example, you look at the Super Bowl, they're heavy on on these things, right? Commercialization and adverts, trying to make as much
They
money.
showed trailers. They actually showed proper trailers during the Super Bowl, like movie
Yeah.
trailers. It is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
But guys, let us know what you think in the comments. Should commercials during games be banned? But mate, so you mentioned about the political stuff at the beginning. So that is still an issue today, right? So we're 5 games in, and it's still a big talking point. So it's not gone away, especially around that Somali referee. I think his name is Omar Artan, right? So the FIFA president Infantino stated that FIFA cannot overrule the US government. So he's trying to obviously like clear his name a bit, right? Even though he probably knew that the US government would have denied this, right? Because he's close with Trump and stuff. Trump would have given permission for this World Cup. Yeah. But he's come out and said that Artan will still be paid his full tournament fee. But on top of that, so I was watching the game yesterday, Ivory Coast versus Ecuador in Philadelphia, right? And they're playing in the Eagle Stadium. So it's like an open stadium. There's no roof or nothing. So whenever they were doing like the aerial shots, the drone shots from bird's eye view, at least 95% of fans were Ecuador, right? It was a sea of yellow, hardly anyone in an orange shirt, which is the colors of Ivory Coast, right? So majority of the fans were denied visas. Why host a World Cup knowing you will not grant visas to the fans?
Yeah, I mean, on that game, right? It's very sad because I mean, Ivory Coast fans, they're some of the most, well, African fans in general, right? They always bring. We saw a lot of it in South Africa. They bring noise, color, vibrancy, passion. They love their football, and we want to see them at the World Cup. That's what the World Cup's all about. We don't want to see a stadium 90% of one set of fans. I think it's a bit of a sad situation. But just coming on in terms of your question was around planning, right? Why would you host?
Yeah, why would you host a World Cup knowing that you will not grant visas to the fans?
Yeah, I mean, I guess playing devil's advocate is, I guess, when you grant the World Cup, is it usually 8-10 years?
Okay, yeah. So you got to put in a bid, right? And normally it's like 8 or 10 years, or whatever the case may be. You got to put a bid in advance.
Exactly, yeah, and I guess a lot can happen, right, in that 8 or 10 years, depending on the situation. So it's difficult to know what the situation is going to be in 8 to 10 years in terms of being able to grant visas. But yeah, it's still, I do still think that it could have been handled a lot better.
Yeah. No, okay, that's a good point with the visa situations. But I feel like that's only exempt with certain countries, though. I don't feel like America has a problem with everyone in the world. So I get it, maybe the Middle East, but are the African countries not fine? Like in America, they don't really have any beef with them, do they?
Well, it's more, well, I mean, I'm not an expert on the situation, but I think a lot of it is with countries that harbor, I guess, terrorist organizations, right?
Yes, very
in
true.
the world. So some African countries do, like for example, Somalia, Nigeria.
They're linked with those other countries. Okay.
Morocco. They have that. So I'm assuming that's where a lot of the issues has come, right, in terms of granting visas. So yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense, right? Okay, so you did raise a good point. Like things could change in that period of time from when they bidded. Let's just say, for argument's sake, they bid 8 years ago, 5 years ago, and then everything was fine during that time. And now 8 years later, things are not fine, right? Okay, I get that argument. But then, should countries that are in active wars, or maybe not so much active wars, active conflict with other countries, because America has been in conflict with those like Middle East countries for decades, right? It's not something new. Yeah, is that true? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So then, yes. So then, should countries who are in active conflict with other countries be hosting world sport events? Because the World Cup's a world sporting event. So should America be hosting such an event if they're having conflicts with other countries?
I think it's similar to what I was saying earlier, though, right? Because 8 or 10 years ago, they didn't have a war with Iran, right? They didn't have a They didn't have
No, no,
to.
not a war, but they've had conflicts with the Middle East for God knows how long, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess so. But then a lot of countries have conflicts, or where do you draw the line, right? What's a conflict? What's not? Right. I guess you have some countries that you have more favorable relations with, but
Yeah,
then certain countries you don't. So where do you draw the line, right?
because
It's
it
it's,
was
it's a
funny.
tough one.
It is a tough one. It's a tough one, and it's funny because the last World Cup when it was held in Qatar, right? People were like questions were being asked, eyebrows were being raised about that, and that was
Yeah.
actually a pretty successful World Cup. That
Mm.
was smooth.
Yeah, yeah.
No problems. I mean, the only downside was that you couldn't drink, right? In the what was it in the stadium or just around or in the vicinity,
Well, I
something
think
like that.
yeah. No, I went to a couple of games in Qatar, and
Yeah,
so leading up to it, the rule was that only certain constricted fan zones and certain hotels would sell alcohol, but and
yeah.
no alcohol in the stadiums. But just before the World Cup started, they changed that and they did allow alcohol in the stadium, I believe.
Well, okay. Well,
I might be
that
wrong
there.
there. But I think either.
Okay, I knew alcohol was like a big thing around it, but some people are still able to get drinks. But obviously,
Yeah,
being English and passionate, like that comes with the territory. You drink, you watch a football game, you have a beer or two with your family and friends or mates, right? Fair enough. But having no alcohol didn't actually ruin the actual spectacle of the World Cup, right? The
yeah,
fans were still able to travel. Fans were able to watch the games. It was a good atmosphere. It was lively, right? So and I feel like the Middle East have their own sort of conflicts with other countries, surely,
mm,
especially with the Western part of the world. But that was never an issue. That was never a talking point. It was never brought to like how we're discussing it now. Everything just ran
mm,
smoothly. So I felt like America could still, if they wanted to, make this an easy experience
yeah,
for those fans for sure, for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
100%. I agree with you there.
but yeah, guys, let us know what you think in the comment section. Do you think countries that are in conflict with other countries should be hosting world sport events such as the World Cup that happen only once every 4 years? It's not like it's every year or every 2 years, it's once every 4 years. But anyway, mate, on to a lighter topic, what we're coming to talk about, the actual games. So we're halfway through the games. 24 teams have played so far. Another 24 remaining to go. Yeah, what's been like your standout game for you so far, and which team has kind of impressed you?
Yeah, so yeah, halfway through the first set of games, I think there's been one or two shocks, right? So I think the Australia win was a bit of a shock, wasn't it? No one really expected them to beat Turkey. I
That
think
was
Turkey,
crazy.
yeah, Turkey had I think 18 shots on goal
No,
and
they had
10 on
30.
target.
They had
30 was
30
it?
shots in total,
Yeah,
something like, and it was eight. It was is a 10 or 8 on target, but in total, 30 shots with like a 72% possession. It was outrageous.
crazy. And their keeper
Yeah.
made some unbelievable saves. I think their keeper, um, Beach, I think his surname was. He was a stand-in goalkeeper, so he plays I think in Melbourne City, so he wasn't expecting to
Okay.
play at all. And yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll get snapped up quite. He had the
Oh, 100%.
game of
Yeah.
his life.
And to keep a clean sheet
Yeah,
as well. And Turkey
yeah,
not a bad team. They got some like proper players. They got that is it Gula that plays for Real Madrid? Arda Gula. Um,
yeah,
yeah, they got Yilmaz,
yeah,
Çalhanoğlu.
yeah.
They got some decent players. Who's that guy that plays for Juventus? I think is it Yilmaz? The young kid. He's like a wonder kid who plays for Juventus. I can't remember his name. But no, but
Yeah,
Turkey as a whole is not a bad team. I don't know
yeah,
how,
yeah, yeah.
but I remember even like historically, I remember like back in the 2002 World Cup when they played Brazil, they gave like Brazil a tough time. 2006 World Cup, so they've always been like that team. It's like a bogey team, and for Australia
Yeah.
to do that, that is yeah, it was
It was
impressive.
huge, yeah, and they're like a footballing nation. They got a good football tradition, right?
Mm,
Um, history of good players, and they love their football there. So I think that was a surprise. Teams that have impressed me so far. I think the Sweden result was very good.
Yesterday.
Yeah, Graham Potter, manager. I'm not sure if you're aware. Were you aware Graham Potter was the manager?
Yeah.
Sweden,
No,
yeah.
I think it was a big thing because when it was announced here, people were thinking, how has he got that? So he was a flop at Chelsea, and he's been like almost awarded a national team job. And Sweden's not like, again, they could be a bogey team. Like I remember the game, like because obviously Zlatan, he's on the punditry in the States, right?
Yeah,
And they were showing his game when they beat England 4-3. He scores that bicycle kick. Remember from like outside
yeah,
the box. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Sweden's another bogey team, a bit like Turkey. So
Mm,
for Graham Potter to get that job, how? How? He's got nothing on his CV, nothing on his resume. So he must have a great agent. He's done very well to get that.
yeah. But yeah, no, it's a good gig for him. I think Qatar was another one that was a bit of a surprise as well. One all against Switzerland. That's a great
Switzerland.
result for them.
Yeah. That was surprising. But Switzerland, I think that they're kind of a new team now because like players like Xherdan Shaqiri is not in the squad anymore, is he? I
I
think
don't
he's
think
kind
so.
of
No.
yeah. So I think they've got. I think Xhaka still plays, but
Xhaka still plays. Yeah. Did you see their injury time equalizer? The celebrations, it was wild because it was the first ever point for
for
Qatar
Qatar, right? I think yeah, I think that's
at the
what I
World
heard.
Cup. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the
Celebrations
celebration
were
like?
wild.
Was it
Yeah,
good?
celebrations were. It was
Was
as
it
if
their
they'd.
fans as well?
Sorry.
Like, and was it with their fans? Was the fans going
Fans,
crazy as well?
the staff. It was like them celebrating a winner, right? It was
Is it? That's
yeah,
amazing.
no, it was
So, so, so
good,
that's the
good
same
to see.
equivalent for me because I watched the game. So I watched the game yesterday with Germany and Curacao, and
Mm,
Curacao lost 7-1, obviously. But that one goal they scored,
yeah,
ah, that was the same. It's like the same feeling. Like the fact that you scored, you're now technically in the history books of a World Cup. That
yeah,
your
yeah,
country, your nation has scored in a World Cup. They went crazy. It's like you said, like Qatar. It's like they won something. But
yeah. Because Curacao and Cape Verde, I think, are the two debutants, right? And
it's their
the
first
nation,
time.
yeah, the nation of Curacao population is less than 160,000 people. Less than
That's
160,000 people.
crazy. That
Yeah,
is crazy. So that guy who scored would be a legend. What was his
yeah,
name?
yeah,
I think it was Livano Comencia. That was it. Livano Comencia. He
yeah.
equalized. Yeah. And they were in the game. So did you get to watch the whole game?
I saw the extended highlights of that game.
Yeah. I think Germany was 2-0 up, right? Then they scored, made it 2-1. And and then there was a water
Yes.
break, and it killed the momentum of the
Yeah.
Curaçao's attack. And then after the water break, Germany just took control. No, I think it was actually 1-1. No. Germany
It was
scored.
one
Sorry,
all.
Germany scored, and then it was 1-1. Yeah. And then Curaçao scored. It was
Equalized.
1-1.
Yeah.
And then it was all Curaçao. Momentum was all with Curaçao. Then it was the water break, and then Germany
Mm,
scored 2 goals before halftime. And we were saying like if it was 2-1 halftime, not so bad. But then they got a
mm,
penalty and Havertz scored, and it was 3-1, and that kind of just killed everything. But that water
yeah.
break, yeah, Curacao, they're good though. So the thing with these teams, right? So like these small nations, they've got nothing really to lose. Like they know that they're not going to win. It'll be if they get out of the group stage, that's such a massive achievement. So when
Mm,
they're playing the game, you see like the heart and passion, and they're up
mm,
for it. Like the energy levels are ridiculous. That they almost like outran Germany, but they're just obviously lacking the
yeah.
talent and ability, right? Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I felt sorry for them. Yeah, that was a good game. I must say, I'm disappointed by Brazil and Morocco.
Mm,
Morocco outplayed Brazil, outplayed
yeah.
them by far. Brazil in second half looked so. One thing I was going to say to you, like a lot of people are saying about the heat, right? How the heat's going to
Mm,
be a factor. So far, I don't think any teams have really looked exhausted. Teams are playing
mm,
with high energy, fast football, quick football. But Brazil's the only team so far I've seen. Second half, they looked gassed. They couldn't run. They couldn't press. They
yeah.
were like losing the second balls. I don't know what
Mm,
it is, but yeah, they do not
yeah.
look impressive.
They didn't look impressive, but I guess it's not how you start the tournaments, right? It's how you end it. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's that's the main thing because if you look at Argentina when they won it 4 years ago, they lost
Yeah,
to
didn't they
Saudi
draw?
Arabia, right?
They lost to Saudi, or did they draw? They lost
They
to
lost to
Saudi, right?
Saudi, yeah. They lost to Saudi,
Yeah.
yeah, in the group stages. But then they kind of learned from that. It could be a wake up call as well for Brazil.
I
Um,
sure hope so because it's been a
mm,
long time since we've seen Brazil like the top of world football.
yeah,
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 since they were embarrassed by Germany in Brazil in that World Cup, they've not really bounced back from that. And I think
mm,
well, how many World Cups been? There's been 2 or 3 World Cups since then, hasn't there? Yeah,
yes,
yeah. So
yes,
this is the third World Cup. Yeah, yeah. Because then who won that? Germany won that World Cup in Brazil, didn't they? And then the
yes,
year
Germany, yeah.
the World Cup after was France won it, and then Argentina won it, and now this is
Mm,
the World Cup. Yeah, yeah. So they've not bounced back, and I feel like normally back in the day when obviously we watched football as kids, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Rivaldo, I felt like when it was the World Cup, everyone used to say the World Cup has not started until Brazil plays their game. So everyone kind of
yeah,
looks for
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, the flair, the skill, the samba, but yeah, there was
It's
no
religion, isn't it?
samba in.
It's
Yeah, exactly. It's their religion. That is their religion, football. Yeah,
yeah,
they were disappointing. Um, Mate, USA though. So for all the slaps
yeah.
that they've been getting, all the stick, all the banter, that it's called soccer. They don't know what they're doing. Did you see their game against Paraguay?
Good win, yeah, yeah, good win. Yeah, I watched it. I think
Not just good win though. It was convincing. It wasn't just like a little good win. They convincingly beat
yeah,
Paraguay.
yeah. But I think Paraguay. Not to take away anything from the US, but Paraguay were not. They weren't great. They're not strong. Not as strong Paraguay as some of the past sides, right? But yeah, not taking anything away from the US. I think it was a perfect start for them. A couple of
Yeah, no,
good
I
goals
agree.
by the
I agree
striker.
with you. Yeah,
Looked
yeah, I
good.
agree with you. Yeah, yeah. But the thing I say with the South American teams, right? Like in climates like this and in conditions like this, no matter what South American team you play, you're gonna get a hard game. You're gonna get a
Mm.
good game because they're used to these conditions, right? So I still like, yeah, Paraguay is not a strong team, and it'd be good to see what USA does against like the bigger nation. But I feel like if anyone played, like even if England played Paraguay, it's not going to be a walk in the park sort of thing, right? They're gonna because didn't England play even like Costa Rica, friendly and
Mm.
just one is it 3-0, and one
3-0.
of it was a penalty, Anthony Gordon penalty. So they're not teams that you kind of like blow away, sort of the South American
Yeah,
team. Yeah,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
I hear what you're saying though. It's not like a bigger test is still yet to come.
Yeah. Good start for them though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a good start for them. But so there has been some crazy reactions though.
Mm.
Following those games. So have you heard what one of the or what do you think about this overreaction? Like Brazil are already out of the trophy running, so they're not contenders to win the World Cup. It'd be lucky if they get past the quarterfinals.
No, I don't. I wouldn't say that. I think it's way too early to say that, right? They didn't lose the game. The Morocco were a very good side. Um, they were obviously expected to win and to do better. And I think the first goal, I think Allison came out a little bit hastily, right, which was
Too
unlike
quick,
him.
yeah, yeah, very
Yeah, it was
unlike
unlike
him.
him. But it was a good finish from the Moroccan, and I think I was surprised that Cunha didn't start. I'm not sure what his
I was I
strategy
was
was
thinking
for
the
it.
same as well. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
surprising. Yeah, so
Thiago
it's just
had
a
a
bit.
had a good header that he missed as well early on, if you remember.
Yeah, it was a sitter. He jumped and he just
Listen,
like did not connect with the ball. Like
mm,
I'm not funny, right? I don't know how he picked Thiago over João Pedro.
in the squad,
Yeah,
yeah,
for Chelsea. Like João Pedro is a much better player. João Pedro played great in the Club World Cup because Chelsea won that,
mm,
and I'm sure he scored.
yeah,
But just overall, he's a much more elegant, technical, more skillful player than Thiago. So I'm not. Yeah, I don't rate Thiago at all.
yeah. And I think also Jesus, Gabriel Jesus didn't make the squad as well, right?
He didn't make the squad at all.
And the Rich, Richarlison didn't either.
Richarlison. Yeah, yeah. So the,
Yeah.
the only reason because that Thiago guy for Brentford, he was the second top goal scorer in the Premier League.
Scored a lot
So
of goals.
he finished behind Haaland. He had a good start to the season. The latter end of the season, he wasn't performing that well. And
Yeah.
Brentford just missed out of the European spots. I think Brentford finished maybe just above Chelsea, like ninth or something, or even below Chelsea. But they're not in Europe, so I don't know. I think João Pedro was done dirty there. But one thing I don't know if you noticed with Brazil, right? And someone let us know in the comment section. But so this Brazil team, all 11 players, play in Europe. Now, not one player is playing in Brazil, like comes from a Brazilian team like a Santos or Flamengo. Yeah. Is that the first time that's ever happened? And do you reckon that has an impact in like their style of play? Like we saw no flair, like what we were talking about with Rivaldo, Ronaldo, like Kaká. We saw
Yeah.
none of those. Yeah. So do you reckon that has an impact?
I don't know. I mean, I guess past Brazil teams, you might get the odd one or two that still plays in Brazil, right? But I'm guessing the vast majority would have been playing in the top European clubs. Obviously, they got Neymar on the bench who still plays in Brazil.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who else on the bench still plays in Brazil. Yeah, I think it's just the current crop, right? They're not as, I guess, talent is not as it was in yesteryear.
Back in the day.
Yeah,
It's just a shame to see, man. Because even with the Club World Cup, they had a few Brazilian teams that went to the knockout stages, didn't they?
yeah, potentially. I think the quarterfinal, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure one team didn't they beat Man City or gave Man City a good game?
Yeah,
One of the
I
Brazilian
do remember
teams.
something like that. Yeah,
But yeah, I just thought I thought that was kind of a good showcase for like it was like a pre-World Cup. This is what the World Cup would be like. It was a good like exhibition to see some of those South American teams. I just thought Ancelotti maybe would have picked a few of those talents because that Brazilian game, there was no flair or skill apart from that one moment of like Vinicius Junior magic. That was it. The game
yeah,
was dead. The game was dead.
yeah. True. Agreed.
Okay,
They don't. They seem to be lacking of. They seem to be lacking of those flair players, right? That
that's
they
what I'm
had the
saying.
dribblers that they
Yeah.
had in the past.
Yeah, it was disappointment. But so okay, but you're not overreacting. You're not thinking they're completely written off.
No, I think it's too early to say. I think like they still have some very good players, especially the back. Right, they got two arguably the best defenders in the world, centre backs,
Yeah.
Marquinhos and Gabriel. They got Alisson, who's still one of the best keepers in the world, I'd say. And they still have talent up front. So I think on their day, with a bit
They
of
can
luck,
turn up.
I think they'll go far. Yeah.
Okay. And then okay, so if you're not that's an overreaction. We're not gonna bite at that yet. What about players? What about outstanding players so far, ones to watch? So
Yeah.
for me, mine is Bouadi from Morocco, midfielder,
Yeah.
18-year-old
Yeah.
wonder kid. So Bouadi and Florian Balogun, the striker for
Yes.
America. Those are my two. Who would yours
Agree.
be?
Yeah. Agree with the American Borgan, and also who's really impressed me in that Sweden game with a couple of great goals that he scored was Ayari, Yassine Ayari, he's
Yes.
the Brighton player. And no, it was interesting that the non-celebration for the first goal.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, so believe
So
he's half
why was
Tunisian,
that? He's half Tunisian.
half
Okay.
Tunisian, I believe. Yeah, and yeah, Isak looked sharp, right? He looked a bit sharper.
Well, he needs to
Gyökeres,
have a good tournament because he's had a poor season for
yeah,
Liverpool. So he needs to have a
yeah,
great tournament. But Gyökeres, yeah, he looked good. It's crazy how like I heard Gary Neville say it recently as well. It's like when you put on that international shirt, like it almost raises your game like 10, 15%. He was saying it when Raul Jimenez was playing for Mexico. Like he's okay for Fulham,
yeah.
comes off the bench, he doesn't always start. But once he wears that national shirt, it's like it's not the same player that's in the Premier League. It's like
It's
what does it
different.
do?
Yeah.
That exactly that gives you superpowers. Because yeah,
I think it's just
with Isak it looks good.
yeah, some players are just passionate. Like when you're playing and representing for your country, and you're playing for millions, sometimes people back home.
Mm.
And you're on that world stage, right? Got billions around the world watching you. It's bound to increase your levels at that 1 or 2%, which makes a difference.
Because that guy you said for Brighton, I
Oh,
don't think he's
yeah,
ever scored a goal. He's never scored a goal like that for Brighton. Like I didn't
no,
even, I kind of like almost forgot he played for Brighton. And
yeah,
he puts that
yeah,
on. Now everyone's going to remember his name. Like I'll be surprised if Brighton don't start getting bids for him.
yeah. It's probably
Yeah,
added like another 10, 20 million on his valuation.
it's the same with that kid Bouadi for Morocco. He's 18 years old, plays for Lille,
Yeah,
right? And he's
yes,
already Chelsea and Arsenal is already bidded like bidded him for this season. So
yeah.
he's 18 as well. He was one of the best players as well on the pitch. He was
Yeah,
dominating Brazilian's midfield. Could
yeah,
not
yeah.
believe it.
And the other player that impressed me as well for Ivory Coast was their forward, Diomande, for Leipzig, 19 year old.
Diomande, yeah. Wait, but before the game, they were showing about his dribbles. Like he was up there
Yeah,
in terms of dribbles with like Lamine Yamal, Elise. I didn't realize he was that good.
yeah, he showed it in the game as well. He
Quality,
showed
yeah,
it like
yeah.
with a couple of chances. He looks very good player.
He's quick in it. He's lightning. He's lightning
Very
quick.
quick, very quick.
Yeah, yeah. And then what about teams? So who are your teams to watch?
I think, yeah, I think Sweden look good. I think they got some good strikers. Isak, Gyökeres up front. They got some good, gone off to a good start. I think they could do well. Um, I think Netherlands were. I think Netherlands will get better. Probably not the best start against Japan. Um, but yeah, the other team that really impressed me, you touched on it earlier, was Australia, and also yeah, Australia, Sweden, I would say. And what about yourself?
So for me, it's Japan and USA actually. Like
Yeah,
I'm not sure if people are gonna like happy for me to say this, but I do think USA will do well. Well, so Pochettino, right? He's come out and say he did a podcast, The Overlap, with Gary Neville, and he did
mm,
say that USA will get to or he believes USA can get to the quarterfinals. And
mm,
so let's see. He's put himself in a good position. They're playing good, quick football. They're attacking as well, so it's not like they're scared. So let's see. Um, they've got a good chance to go through their group. So mine's USA and mine's Japan. Japan's another one of those teams, like historically in the World Cup, same as like Turkey.
mm,
They've always just been one of those bogey teams. Like you know what you're gonna get from Japan, right? They're
yeah,
they're disciplined. They're disciplined as a nation and just people in general, right? So
mm,
when they were defending against Netherlands, they got into the shape,
mm,
stayed in there like the low block and just they're organized. But they attack. They're pacey. They got stamina for days. They don't give
yeah,
up. They're they're smaller, so there are times where you thought Netherlands were using their strength to like bully them around, but man, they got heart and just they did not give up. I think that's been voted the best game of the World Cup so far because, like you
yeah,
said, people are expecting Netherlands to win. Like that mathematician guy, he's
mm,
predicted Netherlands to win the whole tournament, but Japan,
yeah,
they could be underdogs. I can see Japan getting to the knockout stages for sure, or
yeah,
the last round of 32. So for me, Japan and USA, I feel like USA being obviously the home soil, um, they're used to this climate and temperature.
yeah. Definitely good start.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But mate, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Different Ends.
Whether you agree with us or not, we thought we were completely wrong. We appreciate you joining our conversation.
If you enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us grow.
And remember, in football, there are always different views, different opinions, and different ends.
We'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.